What's poppin', y'all? So I know it's been a while, but I promise I have a really good reason. Also, I know I've come back after a year's drought and I'm already spotting some new, but I couldn't find my normal red flannel. I don't know if it's just in the wash or I just don't know where I put it, but either way, I had to settle for this Spirit Halloween Nightmare on Elm Street flannel shirt, but I don't mind. I mean, I think this look is kind of popping, and thankfully, that's the only major difference regarding this shit. Oh! Now, I could just go the easy way and read Wikipedia's page on Incubus for like a minute to give you guys like the most basic ass spark notes, but honestly, if you're clicking on this video, you're either already a fan of Incubus and you want to know the opinion of a balding zoomer, or you're a fan of me, in which case, thanks. But for the sake of some context, let's get the basics out of the way. Incubus is a band.
Hi, this is Future Matt, currently editing the video, and I realized that my synopsis was a little bit doo-doo, so I'm just going to lay down the basics of the band for the sheer sake of context. Incubus is an alternative rock band consisting of Brandon Boyd on vocals, Mike Eisinger on guitars, Jose Pasillas on drums, and Chris Kilmore on the DJing. The band has also had multiple bass players, but as of right now, that role is currently being helmed by Nicole Rowe. I think I'm using that word properly, I don't know. The band has played a wide series of genres such as alternative rock, alternative metal, nu metal, funk metal, rap rock, hard rock, pop rock, soft rock, medium rock, nice rock.
That is a nice boulder.
I don't know, just a bog standard series of genres for a band that started in the 90s. I'm sure you get it. This is all stream of consciousness anyway. But I figured I'd fill the uninitiated in so y'all aren't totally lost. I'll be back if I make any other errors or have to add any additional insight. Thank you.
Incubus is one of the most fun and interesting bands to come out of the 90s alt-rock or nu metal scene. Whether or not these guys are actually nu metal is kind of, I don't know, contended, but honestly, the crazy-ass moments in nu metal history page would post about them occasionally, so I guess that counts. I don't know if they've changed their mind. I haven't used Twitter in like a year. Over their 20-plus year career period, Incubus has released 8 albums. Kinda, sorta, we'll get to that. They also have like a shit ton of live albums, which like, I mean, they're all good. A lot of them are from 2004, but like, you're pretty good with any of these. But okay, spark notes, all that shit out of the way. Let's get to the list.
It's not who you were, it's who you are.
So the last album on our ranking here is If Not Now, When? To be completely honest, this album's biggest crime is just the fact that it's really fucking boring. This album, it's lacking in energy, it's bland, it's flat, it's dull, it's banal, however you pronounce that.
Banal.
Oh. I'm sorry, my phone wasn't showing me my script there. Looks like it's just showing me synonyms for boring. And one of the biggest crimes about this album is that a lot of it just feels like a tease. Like, a lot of these songs feel like they're really building up to something, and then they just kind of go nowhere, you know what I mean? I mean, if I'm being honest, the biggest criminal of that is the original. I feel like I didn't use the right word there, but like, whatever, you know what I mean. Another thing about this album is that Brandon Boyd's bizarre lyrics are like on full display here. Now, don't take that as a slight against Brandon Boyd or his lyrics, because we'll see later on in this video, I fucking love how weird his lyrics are. But here, it just feels kinda...
Or must I be a God-fearing white American?
Brandon, what the fuck are you talking about?
Hi, this is Matt editing the video right now. I am just saying I understand what the song is about now, and I get it, but that doesn't change the fact that I was caught like super off guard by these lyrics, and it was just very strange to me. So even though I know what this song is about, I still stand by this.
So before making this list, I decided to look at other people's opinions, see where they stand, where the divide is, and see how they line up with my opinions, including Brandon Boyd's own ranking, which... this is important later. Also, I swear to God, I didn't plagiarize. These opinions are all mine. Don't fucking kill me, H-Bomber guy. Yeah, he doesn't know who I am. But on Kerrang! Magazine's ranking, they make a pretty good point. And that point being that guitarist Mike Eisinger feels missing. And I'm gonna be real, the fact that I didn't notice that until someone said something, I feel like that says a lot. Also, is Chris Kilmore even on this thing? I know when nu metal bands like kind of grow up and grow out of the nu metal sound, like the DJ will normally like play keys or just stick to being a DJ but in a more like subtle role. But honestly, sometimes the production here just feels so like pop that it feels like the guy isn't even here. You know what I mean? This feels like the producer's job, not the DJ's. Like where are you, man? However, there is a saving grace to this album, and that is Brandon Boyd's voice. Like, this man is an amazing singer, and he has not lost any edge on this album. Despite how wonky the lyrics are, his voice is still incredible. If I were to list some highlight tracks from this album, I would definitely say the title track and the song Isadore, which I feel works with this album's, let's call it, style. Also, throw Adolescence on there too. That one gives like a needed shot of energy that's missing from the album, but it's also the second to last track, so too little too late there, you know? Though there is another track I want to highlight because this one is genuinely exceptional, and that's In the Company of Wolves.
In the company of wolves outside in silence, observance and afraid.
Like, god damn, this one's good. The song is 7 minutes long, but doesn't really feel like it, with the way that it just invests you into it. Like, it feels like you're leaving the song a different person than when you started. It's like that good, and it kind of hurts that it's on this thing. So all around, I would have to give this album like a 3, maybe a 4 out of 10. Like, I don't know, I just really didn't like it, man. Oh, one more thing. Switchblade? Yeah, I'm sorry, that song just sucks.
I can't fight any shade, but I'll be swayed as long as I got a switchblade.
Alright, up next on this ranking is
Number 8.
So I remember talking to a friend about Incubus when this album came up, and pretty much the only thing we could really say about it was, well, I don't remember anything about it, but I know it was better than If Not Now When, which, look, if I'm being totally real with you guys, it's kind of a miracle that this isn't their worst album. Like Loneliest, this is just a straight up pop song. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't hate pop music. Like, I fucking love pop music. Like, this shit is popular for a reason, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, though. I wasn't expecting to hear an Incubus song with, like, 808 trap hi-hats. Like, I don't know, it was 2018. I'm half expecting a fucking Migos feature to show up. Also, When I Became a Man is totally stupid and completely pointless. I fucking love this song, though.
And I took that shower.
And despite having some pretty notable age to it, Brandon's voice is still fantastic. Like, the dude can still sing. It just sounds like a little bit older, but it's not like, I don't know, M Shadow on that newest Avenged Sevenfold album. That album is conflicting. And unlike the last album, this thing's still got a decent shot of energy coursing through it. Like, the first 2 tracks immediately just make you go like, oh, alright, we're alive now, we're having fun again. But frankly, aside from a couple of banger tracks, there's not much to write home about this one. Also, apparently, Skrillex produced this thing, which, like, what? In terms of highlight tracks, No Fun and Nimble Bastard, those are the 2 opening tracks. And again, that's the energy, that's where you know, like, okay, we're kinda back. Also, Love in a Time of Surveillance, which is just a really fun song, and starts with the fucking AOL dial-up noise. I'm not asking questions, I am just asking questions. And Make No Sound in the Digital Forest, which just has a really cool title, though sometimes I get the 2 titles of these songs confused, so I don't know, Make No Love in the Digital Forest of Surveillance. But for me, the best song is Familiar Faces. I don't know why, to be completely honest. I think it's just something about that chorus line, but it hits, man. These guys have a real knack for melody. So, Yeah, this thing, 5 out of 10. Not going higher than a 6, but it's a 5. Why did I debate with myself there? It's a 5. What? Okay, first things first. I had to take the flannel off. It is hot. It's September, but it's like 80 degrees over here. I'm so hot. Alright, up next on the list is Light Grenades. So, first things first, I'm just gonna start by saying this thing is like fucking miles ahead of the last 2 albums. Like, if we were putting this into a tier list, like, Incubus would have no C tier. Just, you know, F, D, skip the C. This is stupid. Like, if we were putting this into a tier list, we would completely just skip the C tier and go right into B. Also, this video got a lot harder to write after the last 2 albums because it's a lot easier to talk about something negative than something positive. Like, you know, when something's bad, you can dissect, figure out what's wrong with it, where they went wrong, you know, all that shit, and then, you know, figure out how to describe those negatives. But with a positive, there's only so many times you could just say, yeah, it's good. So forgive me if I get even less analytical and even more rambly. So the first thing I'll say about this album is that it definitely feels like Incubus's most radio-friendly album, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not even trying to insult them, but it feels like in comparison to, like, every album before, this is the most, like, A to Z 2000s alt-rock album. Like, this is that point in time where the band starts wearing suits, you know what I mean?
So that line was originally written as a joke because every band has that stage where they get older and start wearing suits. And then I watched the music video for Dig, and oh my god.
Also, sorry, as I get more rambly, I'm gonna say like a lot more. And nothing says that like the song Dig. I'm gonna figure out how to make a Mudvayne joke. Now, Dig is a lovely little song about platonic love, which I love that. You don't hear enough song about showing some love to your homies. Like, that's wholesome, you know? And it totally makes sense that this is one of the band's biggest hits, and it's been a live staple for, like, decades now. So let's do a little side tangent here. When I got into this band, I actually listened to their albums chronologically. I don't know what compelled me to do that, but I was like, you know what? Fuck it, let's go chronological. With the exception of one, but we'll get to that. Anyway, I started off with Dirk Lance's bass work. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce his actual last name, so Dirk Lance. And this guy's bass work was absolutely incredible. Like, those first few albums have some god-tier bass work, which we'll get to later. But I was pretty skeptical about the quote-unquote new guy. But then after hearing his bass work on this album, I was absolutely solidified. Like, hell yeah, this guy is the perfect fit for this band. Though saying that now is a little bit outdated because when I was writing the script, he was still in the band, but it seems like they're pretty okay with each other. He just left due to his health, which get well soon. And the new bassist, Nicole Rowe, is an excellent fit. I saw them live and she was playing for them and she was fantastic. But going back to Dig, this is just a song that, I don't know, it makes you smile. To quote a bald wrestling YouTuber, it makes you feel all good in your tum-tum. I don't remember if I actually said the quote right. Anyway, there is a good reason, though, to keep that smile on your face, and that's because of the next song, which I would be 100% with you is like 10 times better, and that's fucking Anomaly. He pronounces it Anomaly in the song, but it's Anomaly. I'm calling it Anomaly. Okay, so, real shit. This is the best song on the album, like, no comparison. Like, the album is good, but, like, God, this song is incredible. Like, I don't know anything about music theory. I don't know keys or chord variations or fucking polyrhythms. But what I do know is that songs sound good, and I like when songs sound good, and this song sound good. Okay, so obviously the singles are good. Those are the ones they, you know, want to put on the radio. But how is the rest of the album? Well, it's alright. So this feels like an odd thing to note, but it's important to me. This is actually the first Incubus song to feature an intro track, and that's Quicksand, which does a good job of like setting the mood, getting you ready, and then immediately jumping into a kiss to send us off, which is... Okay, side note. So if you'll remember, I got into Incubus chronologically. So the existence of Quicksand kind of fucked up my experience of If Not Now When, because the first song of that album sounds like an intro track. And so I'm expecting energy afterwards after this good intro, but instead I got that! And after that is the singles, which I just talked about. So, I don't know, go back like a minute and you'll hear them. Like, are you paying attention, man? Come on. That was mean. But the album's big issue to me comes after the title track, which is fucking crazy, by the way. But after that, you get the song Earth to Bella Part 1, which is, you know, very lovely. And then you get a bunch of songs that I genuinely don't remember anything about. Like, Incubus albums kind of have the issue of being, like, a little bit front-loaded, but this thing is the biggest example. Like, if you hold a gun to my head and tell me to sing Rogues from memory, I'm gonna die. On the bright side, the last track, which is Earth to Bella Part 2, that's a nice one, but the 3 songs in the middle I just can't remember anything about. Like, which is a shame. Like, the only thing I could remember from the song Pendulous Threads is that the title is Pendulous Threads, because this is, like, the other song I can think of from the year 2006 with the word pendulous in the title. Like, that's kind of all I can think of. But in terms of track highlights, yeah, just listen to the first half of the album. It's mostly bangers. That being said, this album gets, like, 7.5 out of 10. The existence of Anomaly really makes me want to push it up to an 8, but the whole thing being kind of bogged down, yeah, 7's alright. Also, if you're wondering why a 7 out of 10 isn't in the C tier, my rankings go by the Canadian system, so just ignore that I gave one of them a 5. Don't listen to me about tiers, okay? I'm an American, why am I even doing this? Alright, up next on the list is... I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna say it. Don't say it. Don't think it. Don't say it. Don't think it. Breathe in. Breathe out. I'm not gonna make the joke. So this band had a really weird fucking start. It is genuinely kind of mind-boggling how this band started, cause nothing else in their discography sounds like this. Even the follow-up isn't quite as, I don't know, weird. But we'll talk about that one later. I poked myself in the eye! And what makes this thing so weird? Well, hey, smell that? This album's got a bit of a funk to it. Every track on this album has got some textbook funky shit to it. Like, you've got those chicken scratchy guitars, rhythmic as hell bass lines with a bit of slapping. Not fucking saying it, Paul Rudd. Does anyone even get that joke anymore? Like, when did I Love You Man even come out? Some complex but still solid drums? This is all fucking funky, man. But if I'm being totally honest with y'all, in terms of something like funk rock or funk metal, this isn't really in the highest echelon, you know what I mean? Like, it's a step or two down between, like, I don't know, the Chili Peppers, Mr. Bungle, or Living Colour.
Matt! Don't mention Mr. Bungle and the Chili Peppers in the same sentence! Matt!
Though again, I'm not an expert. And if I'm being honest with you, like, I'm not sure how much you can trust my opinion on this, because, like, One Hot Minute is my favorite Red Hot Chili Peppers album, so, like, you don't have to trust me. Well, Matt, you seem pretty indifferent, if not negative, towards this album. If that's the case, then why is it above Light Grenades? Well, these albums are actually super close to each other. Like, it was really hard deciding which one goes where, you know what I mean? Like, frankly, I could switch these two and I wouldn't feel any different about it. But also, there is one thing that this album has over Light Grenades. It's really fucking fun. I mean, this album just sounds like a bunch of hippies letting loose in their garage. Presumably, like, super fucked up on something. And I mean, they had to be on something. I mean, look at those dreads, man. Come on, Brandon. Perfect example of this? Take Me to Your Leader. Well, okay, if I'm being totally real with you, this is, like, the best song on the album. Like, God, I fucking love this song. And what's it about? I have no fucking idea. But god damn it, what if I had a mustard-drenched cucumber tied to my leg? I came seeking knowledge. And knowledge told me to go fuck myself. That being said, with this song, and this whole album in fact, this is the thing that puts Incubus into the nu metal discussion. And that's why you'll get something like the later albums, like the ones after the follow-up, showing up in nu metal lists and rankings and stuff like that. Which, look, if I'm being totally honest, doesn't completely make sense. Really, these albums should be the only ones that are considered for the nu metal question, but also, Shit, you make one new metal album and you're in the family forever. Fuck you, ha! There's also a lot of other really great songs from this album, like You Will Be a Hot Dancer, Shaft, High Like Us. Wait a minute. What the hell is this thing? Okay, so this is an EP consisting of a few re-recorded tracks from the debut, but also features the brand new member and the band's first DJ, DJ Life, who added some of them cool wait noises. There's also a couple new songs to this, like As We Think We Is, which is fun, but I don't know. It's no psychopsilocybin.
Hey, so I did a little bit of digging, and I just wanted to share this. So the song As We Think We Is actually comes from their very, very first EP, which realistically seems just like a demo, and it's something I probably didn't even need to bring up. But the reason I bring it up is it's called Let Me Tell You About Root Beer.
Though, if I'm being totally honest, you're probably gonna get a pretty similar experience listening to either of these. I'm sure there are some folks who are more pedantic among us. I'm sure there are more pedantic folks who could easily point out the differences and have a clear favorite. But I'm not one of those. I could take either of these. But also, if you're only listening to the band on Spotify, which is how I got into them, you're just gonna be going with Enjoy Incubus because Fungus hasn't been on streaming services for as long as I can remember. The band themselves aren't huge fans of this thing, which is why they haven't played any of the songs live in forever. Either way though, both of these are a 7 out of 10. Now, this next placement may be controversial. If you remember earlier, I was talking about looking at different album rankings, and my stomach growled. If you remember earlier, I talked about looking at other album rankings, and not only did most of them put this at number 1, if not top 3, Brandon Boyd himself put this as his favorite Incubus album. So it feels weird to say that coming in at number 4 is Morning View. Okay, let's talk about why I don't love this album. Let's get the negatives out of the way. Which, don't get me wrong, this album is really fucking good. Like, I really like this album. But I don't 100% love it. Now, my reasoning is dumb and personal, but, I mean, we're over halfway through this video, so let's talk. Now, my first time listening to this album was fresh off the one before, which we'll talk about that later. Yeah, I didn't stab myself this time. And, something felt, let's call it off. Like, there was something weird about it. There was a vibe to this album that felt different, let's say. And after doing a bit of Googling, I came to a realization. Oh, this is an album about a breakup, isn't it? Okay, maybe that's a bit of a generalization, but the feeling of a breakup just kind of permeates throughout this album. Like, especially tracks like 11 AM in Mexico, which, don't get me wrong, really good songs, but it's got the vibe. It's got that feeling that's just like, oh shit. And there's also songs like Blood on the Ground and Have You Ever, which, I don't know, feel bitter. And they're not really songs that I find myself going back to. Okay, the complaining is over. Let's talk about why this album is fucking great. Okay, first things first, the first song, Nice to Know You. Okay, legit. There is nothing more hype than Brandon Boyd scatting, like, syncing up to Kilmore's DJ scratches at the beginning. Like, it just gets you so ready, gets you so pumped. It's just like... Yeah, this one is another favorite of mine. And honestly, I may also just say that because of the riff, because... On the topic of, like, singles, this album's got a lot of really good singles. Like, Wish You Were Here has a great groove to it, and I love the acoustic textures. Also, fun little ditty, when I saw them last year, They did a lovely rendition of Pink Floyd's song of the same name following this one. I don't know if they always do this or it was just for this tour, but either way, it was sweet. I'm also a really big fan of Are You Win's just sing-along chorus. That one is a groove. And while it's the single that I tend to forget about the most, Warning is a really good song too. Although, honestly, I didn't even know this was a single, but like, whatever. As for the deep cuts, this album has some real good bangers, like Circles, Just a Phase, and Echoes. The guitar... No, Echo. We're not talking about fucking Pink Floyd. The guitar work on Echo, especially, is just beautiful. Eisinger's guitar work is just, like, off the chain on this one. But my personal highlights of this album are actually the last two songs of the album, Under My Umbrella and Aqueous Transmission. So I'm gonna cop out a little bit and say there's no real way to describe how good these songs are without just playing these songs for you. So I highly suggest that you go and actually listen to these ones because they are beautiful. After the video, of course. So, yeah, Morning View is a wonderful album. Well, I just kicked my radiator. So, yes, Morning View is a wonderful album, and don't let my opinion get in the way of your enjoyment of this album. I'm the odd one out here, man. But my whole thing is I kind of feel like I have to be in a certain mood to listen to it, and I would rather listen to the next 3 albums as opposed to this one. But, again, that's just my opinion. Don't let me stop you from enjoying it, because this thing is still like an 8 out of 10.
So it's been a couple months. So I lost the audio for the rest of this video. What I think happened is that it accidentally got deleted when I was moving shit out of OneDrive, because I didn't want OneDrive on my fucking computer in the first place. So I decided to just fucking delete it. I thought I saved everything, but I clearly didn't. So after realizing that I had lost the audio for the last, section of the video, I, did what everyone did. I took a shower, I cried while taking a shower, and then I decided, fuck it, I'm just gonna re-record this whole section. And hey, the good news is, I found my old flannel while, during that downtime, so we did it, fellas. It was stuffed in my couch. Anyway, where were we? Oh yeah, the next album, Crow After the Murder. Well, fitting, isn't it? The next album on this list is the next album. Like chronologically. We're getting really neat here. So, for a little bit of historical context, for like the first time in this video, so after the tour for Morning View was over, bassist Dirk Lance was like, "Aight, fellas, it's been a good ride. I'm gonna go." Actually, I don't remember if he left or was kicked out, but whatever. And I've ranted about this before already, but like, I genuinely don't care why he left the band, because creative and personal reasons is a fine enough answer. I don't need the goddamn gossip on my favorite band's lives. Anyway, after Dirk Lance's Dirk-parture, that's when bassist Ben Kenny hopped into the band. And, okay, remember what I said earlier about Ben in the video, when I said it was Light Grenades that sold me on his bass work? Yeah, no, I fucking lied. I was instantly sold on this guy. Now, if I'm being honest with y'all, this album is a little hard to review, for lack of a better term. I mean, I'm not saying that as a negative. I mean, fucking hell, it's number 3 in this list. I love this thing. But it's kind of hard finding a singular descriptor for this album. Because, like, every song is different. So, let's note the songs. Now, Megalomaniac is a fan-fucking-tastic opener. I mean, the line, "You're no Jesus, yeah, you're no fucking Elvis," that's just poetry, man. Now, Brandon Boyd did state that the song wasn't specifically about anyone, but given that it was the year 2003, I'm willing to make connections. More than anything, though, this album really feels like a fucking victory lap for Mike Eisinger, because the guitar work on this album is absolutely incredible. I mean, stuff like the title track, Agoraphobia, Beware, Criminal, Southern Girl, Hell, even kind of like a lesser song like Z Dival has some stellar guitar playing. No pun intended. Though, if we're talking about Mike's guitar playing, I would be remiss if I didn't mention one song. And if you know this album, you know this band, you know Mike's guitar work, you know exactly what song I am talking about. Sick Sad Little World is a goddamn masterpiece. Like, okay, genuinely, full honesty, this might be the band's musical peak. It is tight as hell, it's really complex, but it's not lacking in any hooks. Like that riff, any riff in the song, you can just easily hum, because it just sticks with you every time. And like, holy shit, the drumming on this song is something else. Jose Pasillas is a fucking amazing drummer, dude. And as mentioned before, Mike's guitar is absolutely on fire with this thing. Like, this is hands down the best guitar solo that he has ever done. And God, this guitar solo is so perfect. Like, absolutely perfect. Like, it's lengthy, but it's not too long, so you don't get lost. It's complex, but it has those hooks and licks that stick with you. Like, fucking, I get hyped every time I hear the goddamn. And it feels worth noting. Oh, I stepped on something. And it feels worth noting, the version from the Look Alive DVD is also spectacular. And like hell, depending on the day, this might actually be better than the original. Form your own opinions and you listen, but like. Another thing I'll praise about this album is something I actually complained about earlier on in the video. Brandon has once again got some weird-ass lyrics, but compared to the weird parts in If Not Now When, these all work. Songs like Talk Shows on Mute or Southern Girl have some, we'll call them interesting lines, but it's less interesting in the way that you're trying to avoid saying something negative, but it's more interesting in the fact that the little oddities just put a smile on your face, you know what I'm saying? Am I making sense here? I feel like I'm making sense to myself, and that's what matters. And I also want to highlight one more song, and that's the penultimate track on this album, Here in My Room. So, this song feels very singular in Incubus's catalog for one really specific reason. The band has done a lot of love songs. I mean, hell, some of their best songs are love songs, but we'll talk about that later. But this song is really special, because it's the only Incubus song that I think I could genuinely describe as sexy? Like, that doesn't feel like the right word, because, you know, the song ain't, you know, it's not like a horny song or anything like that, but, like, I don't know, it's so goddamn romantic and sexual. Like, this song isn't about fucking, this song's about making love. And like, okay, all jokes aside, genuinely, this song is fucking beautiful. Like, these are some of the best lyrics that Brandon Boyd has ever penned. Like, look at these. This is fucking poetry. So, yeah, A Crow Left of the Murder is a wonderful fucking album. Like, this is an 8.5 out of 10. Ah, shit, we really hit the big guns, haven't we? Because the next album on this list is Make Yourself. I was gonna hold this up like the whole segment. That was my plan, because it's the only Incubus album I have on vinyl, but like the glare is so bad I can't do it. So this is the album for Incubus. Like, this is their major breakthrough. It's got the biggest hits. It's the one where they really got familiar and comfortable with their trademark sound. And like, yeah, goddamn, this thing is amazing. So I'll start with probably the easiest thing to talk about. I think Drive is literally a perfect song. Like, these dudes really came in at the last fucking minute to make one of the best songs to come out of the entire 1990s. Like, god damn. Like, that acoustic guitar part is genuinely one of the band's best guitar parts ever. Like, and it exemplifies Incubus's riffs to a T. I mean, it's easy to get stuck in your head, it's super catchy to sing or hum along to, but it's surprisingly really difficult to replicate. Like, I'm not a master of guitar or anything like that, but god, like, these chords are really weird, you know? Hell, even other guitar playing friends I know kind of struggle with this riff. I don't know, Mike Eisinger is just something else, dude. And the other instrumentation just adds so much texture to what really is a really simple song. Like, Dirk Lance's bass line has just the right amount of groove to it, and Jose Pasillas' drums are just, they stick with you. And honestly, if I'm being totally real with you, this song would not be the same if it wasn't for fucking DJ Kilmore's little oh, and Brandon's lyrics, they're just I remember whenever I would catch this song in the wild before I really got into this band, I just kind of assumed it was just a really nice love song. And it can be interpreted like that. I mean, whatever tomorrow brings, I'll be there. Like, I'll be there for you, girl. I love you. But actually listening and hearing this song, speaking entirely personally here, I hear the song as a message that's basically like, hey, I'm gonna be fucking alive tomorrow. You know what I mean? Like, whatever tomorrow brings, I will be there. I'm gonna be fucking alive with open arms and open eyes. Yeah. Man, you just can't forget a song this perfect. Oh, there's a whole album here too. Okay, with every album I've talked about so far, there's at least one skip song, you know? And I say skip in the context of listening on shuffle, you know? Like, if I'm listening to an album, I'm gonna have to shoot all the way through that album, which, you know, is a positive in most cases, but, like, every time I listen to Vitalogy, I have to go through fucking Bugs.
I got bugs.
I like Bugs, actually.
I got bugs in my room.
But regardless, this album has 0 skips. Make Yourself has no skips. Like, there is something to come back to on every song. Even something that feels like it should be a skip, like Battlestar Scratch Lactica, which is an amazing title, and is basically just a 4-minute DJ solo. It fucking rips, and I listen to it in full every time I can. But talking about the actual songs, I previously mentioned that some of Incubus's best songs are love songs, and let's talk about them. Stellar and I Miss You are some of my favorite love songs of all time. Both of them have absolutely beautiful lyrics. Like, Stellar is about how, you know, being in love kind of makes you feel like you're in outer space, which is a topic we'll actually come back to later on. And the latter I've always interpreted as being away from someone even for a short amount of time. It fucking sucks. It's just really sweet to me. Oh, and Pardon Me is just a fucking beautiful explosion of a song, which is about exploding. Apparently Brandon wrote the song after reading like an article about spontaneous combustion, and speaking as a very stressed 23-year-old,
I can relate.
honestly, epic is a word that I can use for a majority of these songs. Consequence, Nowhere Fast, the title track, Out From Under, holy shit! Also, I have nowhere else to put this, but this has been bugging me since the first time I've ever heard this album. This part of Make Yourself sounds like Crash Bandicoot. I'm sorry, I had to get that off my chest. Like, if I'm speaking entirely truthfully, if I am speaking from the heart, if I am talking from the pussy, this is probably Incubus's best album. Like, this is probably their peak. Like, this is a very fucking close to 10-9. I mean, shit, I didn't know where to put it, but, like, this thing starts with Privilege. That song kicks ass!
Well, Matthew, you sure are heaping a load of praise onto this album, which is very well deserved, might I add, but if this is close to a 10-9 as you say, Why isn't it your number one?
Well, first, this is, my opinionated list. If we were speaking objectively, yeah, this would be number one. But we're speaking subjectively. And this one isn't my favorite. And if I'm talking about my favorite Incubus album, well, I kind of spoiled it with the thumbnail, didn't I? Well, that magic medicine sure fucking worked. So, I first heard this album a couple years ago, at the young-ass age of 21. And I had listened to a lot of nu metal, alt metal, funk metal, the like, and what have you. But I never really got into Incubus, aside from hearing songs on the radio, and, Stellar being on the first Guitar Hero game, the best fucking game of all time. But I was watching a video by Mike from The Art of Guitar, which is a great channel, by the way, if you play guitar. Anyway, he has a series about, riffs that give him the biggest rush. And on part 7, he plays this. And I remember thinking to myself, that's Incubus? That's the Stellar Drive guys? I mean, I'd heard they'd started as a nu metal band, but shit, I should check that out. And after listening to the song A Certain Shade of Green so many times that I'm pretty sure I could start hearing colors, I decided to give the whole album a chance. And I mean this with zero exaggeration, as sincerely as possible. This album blew my fucking mind. Like, dog, the first thing you hear on this album is a fucking didgeridoo. I genuinely had no idea what I was getting into. This album takes so many twists and turns and still manages to feel extremely fresh after 25, 50 listens later. The song Vitamin not only has one of their hardest riffs, but a funky ass breakdown in the middle following a fucking drum duel, which is just
And also it soundtracked a really fun Death and Final Destination 2.
And then the song New Skin, which goes fucking insane. Brandon's voice is completely unhinged here. And then there's the brilliant fucking sample work in the middle of the song done by the previous DJ, Gavin Goppel, or DJ Life. It's a, bit of a shame that he was kicked out after the first album, but, again, shit happens with members. I wonder what he's been up to afterwards. Oh. Glass has, one of the weirdest riffs on the album, being completely honest, but, fuck me does this thing groove. It has some kind of weird timing to it, if that makes sense. It's got, it's not prog or anything like that, but it's just got a very bizarre timing thing, and the guitar sounds super weird, but, it doesn't stop this thing from just, fucking getting in your head every time. Yeah, I'll keep that. Alright, we're at a big one here, folks. So, after the very good song Idiot Box, there's an interlude called Magic Medicine, which is a fine enough song. It's a trippy little drum and bass sounding trip-hop track, but it serves as an introduction to a certain shade of goddamn green. I fucking love this song! The riff, hard. The bass line, hard. The drums, hard. The fucking DJ scratching, hard as fuck. It's damn near obscene how hard this song goes. And it goes hard for a good reason, because this is basically a song that is yelling at you to be like, hey, quit procrastinating, stand up, and do whatever the fuck you want to do, motherfucker. So, following that, I'll be upfront and say that the song Favorite Things is probably the weakest on the album, but that's not really saying much, because on a lesser album, put this thing on If Not Now When, and it's the highlight. it's only the worst because it has to be. The song is still really fucking good. But following that, you get what's probably the most individual song on the album, for lack of a better term, Summer Romance, or Anti-Gravity Love Song. I am also a sucker for parentheses song titles. I don't think parentheses is a word. Either way, it's a very sweet title for a very sweet song. So while it's not as deep or complex as other songs that Incubus has done, what this song does have is fucking happiness. Like, as said during the Make Yourself section, this is another song about how being in love makes you feel like you're in outer space. And it feels like, I can't even describe it. I genuinely lost words trying to describe how fucking happy this song makes me. And also, worth noting, this song has a fucking awesome saxophone solo. Alright, so wrapping up the album is a trilogy of some of the most batshit crazy songs to come from this band. First, holy shit, I love Nebula. Like, I'm gonna take a shot in the dark and say that Jose Pasillas' arms never need a workout for the rest of his life, just from the goddamn drumming in this song. Like, holy shit! And, alright, I'll level with you. I understand that ranting and raving about songs you love isn't the best seller when it comes to music. Like, when it comes to music, you do kind of have to sit down and listen to the song. And just saying go listen to it isn't the best sell in the world. But I think I can sell this song to you. It uses the word orgasmatron in the lyrics. Deep Inside has a really good funky verse, heavy chorus structure, with a really goddamn good breakdown. And this song also has what is probably the funniest F-bomb I have ever heard in anything. I'm being completely genuine there. Like, the first time I heard this section of the song, I was at work, and I had to take a second just to stop goddamn laughing. And, of course, I'm not gonna spoil it for you. And the album closer, Calgone, is about being abducted by aliens, shitting yourself, and taking a bath. What the fuck else do you want in an album closer? Okay, real shit, I know my descriptions have been kind of lacking throughout this whole video, but specifically with this album, but I genuinely don't know how to describe this album without just saying, I love it over and over again. Oh, and the album has a hidden track! I fucking love hidden tracks! Go listen to Science. Science fucks. So I'll finish up this video talking about kind of the other things the band has done. There was the semi-recently released Trustfall EPs, which are fine enough. Realistically, I'd probably put them around Fungus or Light Grenades. Like, if this thing was one whole album, it would be the C-tier album that I was talking about, but they're EPs, so it doesn't count. You can't use my words against me. Think Absolution Calling is the highlight from side A for me. It's just a fun, kind of weird, but really groovy tune. And it proves that Incubus can be poppy while still being good. Our Love and Karma Comeback are probably the highlights for side B for me. Though I do want to point out the single cover for Our Love, because that is fucking adorable. And the most recent thing the band has put out is actually a live re-recording of Morning View, which, it's good. I can't really say anything negative against it. It's just a live version of Morning View. Nothing more, nothing less, and it's not trying to be anything more or less. It's just good. So, once again, here's the ranking. Now, this is kind of just a quality of life thing for me, because anytime I'm watching like a long-ass ranking video, I sometimes forget what albums are all on the list and in what order. So this is just a thing being like, hey, here's a refresher, you know? Alright, but regardless, if you agree or disagree or want to kill me for that Morning View placement, let me know. Leave a comment, fucking like the video if you liked it, and subscribe. I have no plans for a really consistent upload schedule, I'll be totally real with you. That's, you know, just because I'm busy, but I still want to work on stuff while I can. But I promise, I will put out videos. I realize there's been a bit of a drought in the channel. Alright, so thank you so much for watching. Thank you for watching all the way to the end. And it's been a good night. This is Funky Unky Matt. Not saying goodnight. Just saying. Okay, I wanted to share just this little tidbit for the very end of the video because I had no idea where I could squeeze this in, but it's just something that makes me laugh. So, pardon me. Hey! So I wanted to open up the video with this Vine.
Sometimes I feel the fear of uncertainty.
And, you know, it's funny. It's not the greatest impression, but damn it, it makes me laugh. This Vine took me several hours to find. Like, I genuinely don't know why it was so hard to find this, but looking up Incubus Vine didn't give me any results. So I remember just having to go through, like, so many Vine compilations, long Vine compilations, to see if I could find the guy who made it. And when I finally did, I went to the old Vine website, which is just an archive of old Vines. I went to the Vine website just trying to find this singular goddamn 6-second video. It wasn't even worth it. I didn't even open the goddamn video with it. I don't know, I'm gonna play it like 6 more times. Y'all have a good night.
Sometimes I feel the fear of uncertainty. Sometimes I feel the fear of uncertainty. Sometimes I feel the fear of uncertainty.